I don't know whether I've made a huge mistake here. This is a lot of stuff to go through. Let me know in the comments though, what do you think? Have I made a huge mistake?
Let's go! Yahoo!
What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the free trading game collection, the series where I look to build a video game collection without spending any money out of pocket. Today we are going to do something that I haven't actually done for quite a while, and that is pick up a random assortment of crap. So I was on Facebook Marketplace and I saw a controller. I messaged him and I said, hey, any chance I could get this for a tenner? He had an Xbox One controller up there for 15. He said yes. I was about to go pick it up and then he messaged me. He said, I'm so sorry, I've actually promised it to someone else. I sent him a message and I said, hey, look, no problem. I noticed you get a lot of stuff. If you ever get anything else, let me know first and I'll probably buy it off you and I'll come pick it up straight away. 3 or 4 days later, he sends me a message and he says, I've got a bunch of games. Are you interested? Sends me a picture. Yes, I am. How much do you want? He said 25. I was like, I'll do 20. And he was like, yeah, that's fine. That's cool. A couple of minutes goes by, sends me another message. I've also got some Wii's if you're interested. I was like, don't know about Wii's. So he sends me this picture. What is that? That is a bag of spaghetti. I've got no idea what is in this. And I was like, oh, look, how much do you want for it? Because it could be gold, it could be trash, but my money was relatively safe in the games that he'd already promised me for 20. So I said, like, how much do you want for that and for the games? He sent me another picture before he gave me a price. He said, I've also got this Xbox 360 controller. He also sent me a picture of an Xbox 360 Kinect, which isn't really worth an awful lot. He said I could have that for free. And he said, look, I'll do 45 for the entire thing. The whole of the games that you've already agreed to buy, this massive bag of spaghetti, and I'll throw in that Kinect as well.
Hi mate.
Hi mate, alright?
Right?
Yeah, not bad. 45 you said,
yeah? It's quite heavy on this one. Yeah.
Let's just have a little assess. So we've got some things in here that I wasn't expecting. There's 2 PS2 games. Not worth anything, but you know how I feel about theme park. Yeah. So I haven't actually checked any of this, but I'm assuming it's all there. Of course I know where he lives, so why would he lie to me? All this is up for debate. That looks good. Is that an original back? Please be. It is. That's fantastic. That looks clean, unopened. That's £13 in trade instantly. That is an official remote. Hopefully it works. Looks a bit minging. That isn't official. That is horrendous. Nunchucks, and then of course we've got the PS1 stuff and some PS4 games down there as well. So there we go, 45 quid. Let's get packed up and get back to the game room. So I'm not going to drag this out because there's an awful lot to get through. I'm going to go through the PlayStation 1 games very, very quickly. I'm not going to open them and show you them and everything like that. I think nearly every single one of them, except obviously the most expensive one, isn't complete. The condition vary from pretty decent to, oh my god, what the hell has happened to you? So the first game is going to be Player Manager 99. I think I've played this a little bit back in the day. Probably going to keep a fair few of these, and the reason for that is because they're just not worth an awful lot. So I'll either keep them for if I ever get a play at PS1 I need to bundle them with, or maybe I'll play them, who knows. Next up is going to be Scrabble, not a great one. Those two so far not really worth an awful lot. Scrabble maybe a couple of quid, the Player Manager not so much. This one is worth a little bit, maybe 5 to 7. That is going to be Toka Touring Racing. Anyway, again, complete good condition, that one, which is not bad at all. Next up is going to be, let me try and read this, Firestorm Thunderhawk 2. I haven't actually looked that up. I would not imagine that is going to be an expensive one because I see that quite commonly. Jimmy White's 2, Cue Ball. Yeah, that's not going to be worth anything. FIFA 2005, FIFA 2004, and Die Hard Trilogy completes the first half bundle of PS1 games. I actually had this once upon a time before, if you remember. It's sold in a bundle of games on Vinted that we've already accounted for and put into the value, but we now have it back again. This is one of those very common PS1 games. It holds a little bit of value between 5 and 8, and it's platinum, which does decrease it slightly, but this is complete in very good condition. I may keep it, I may look to sell it. I haven't really decided what I want to do with everything yet. The next stack of games I have is Riding Star on the PS1. I guess it's worth about £1 maybe. I will of course go through these and get the exact values of what I think I can get for them, and maybe if I do decide to sell them we'll add that at the end. But there's Pong, a game that I remember sinking quite a lot of time into, NHL 2000. That is complete and in very, very good condition. Everyone's favourite video game, Monopoly. PGA, European Tour Golf. I mean, if you have a video game system, you have to have a golf game on it. I'm pretty sure that's the rule. Maybe not so much this one. One of the greatest games ever made now, Premier Manager 99 with big Kevin Keegan on the front. Not as good as 98 in my opinion, but still, I did play this quite a lot. Every single one you've seen so far, it was like, not really that bothered. These two were the reason I said yes. First up, we have Spider-Man. Now, unfortunately, this is equally the most expensive game that we have here, valued at around 15. If it was in good condition, and it was Black Label, and it had the manual, this would be 20 plus. Unfortunately, it isn't. It doesn't have the manual, the disc isn't in great condition, but it does work, and it's platinum, so we're looking more like 12. And this next and final game for the PS1 is the very reason you need to look at everything, even if you don't consider them to be games that would be worth much. That is a double pack. It is John Loma Rugby and Brian Lara Cricket. This is the most expensive game in that bundle. This is a £20 game-ish, or games I should say, so that was very surprising, but very, very welcome. So 16 PlayStation 1 games. When you saw me pick that up, the whole bundle, there were 2 PlayStation 2 games mixed in that were not in the original listing. He didn't say to me, these are included. They were just in the bag, and that is going to be a theme here. There was a lot of stuff in that bag that I didn't know was in there. He probably didn't even know was in there. First of which, Dance UK on the PS2, it's worth £0.01 to CEX. They sell it for £1. It's actually in okay condition. I'll look to sell that with a PS2 if I ever get one to sell on. Theme Park World. I've actually never played Theme Park World. I don't know why. I tried to, and it was so different to Theme Park itself that I just gave up and thought, no, I don't like it. Didn't like Change back in the day. Good condition though. I think it trades in for about £1.20. I may or may not do that, to be honest. I may just keep it. Then we get into the Wii games. These were trickled on. So he actually showed me like a few of them, and then he was like, oh, I have this one. Oh, I've seen this one. So he must have just picked up this bag from somewhere. And it must have just been full of games, wires, consoles, controllers, you name it. It's just full of random stuff. Like, and I mean random as well. We're going to get into that. But he showed me the games he obviously could grab to hand, and then every now and again he'd send me another picture with, hey, I've just found this, I've just found this. So one of them was Tomb Raider Anniversary. I don't think it's worth a lot, unfortunately. I don't really want it, if I'm being honest, especially on the Wii, but it's there. One of the ones I'm going to keep, and I'm so grateful that it's actually in decent condition, although I don't think it's worth a lot. I will obviously keep a running total of this on screen for you. Resident Evil, The Dark Side Chronicles. I've never actually played this game. Resident Evil Wii games really, really interest me to the point where I'm really excited to get into them because they're more like House of the Dead than they are Resident Evil in my opinion. I really like that type of thing. A game I absolutely love on the Xbox 360, it is Geometry Wars. This isn't in the best of conditions, but I have put it in and it does work. All of these Wii games work. Some of them are not trade-worthy though, and the ones that are trade-worthy are the ones I actually want to keep, which is a bit of a shame. We have WarioWare Smooth Moves. I mean, nothing much to be said about that. It doesn't trade in for a lot. It'll be kept. It's a first-party title. And then 3 of the final Wii games that we have are ones that I wasn't really planning on keeping, but they're so badly scratched that I can't trade them, but I have popped them in, and I've played like a couple of minutes of each of the levels, and they work. We have Sonic and the Secret Rings, Sonic Unleashed, and Sonic the Black Knight. So 3 Sonic games, all complete, and all in worse for wear condition, but work. The cases are not in the best of conditions either, so I think what I'm going to do is I am going to keep them. The Wii is something that really, I don't know, it's an interesting console to me because I always think about playing it and then I'm like, no, I can't be arsed. But when I'm actually playing it, I do have a lot of fun. I was testing the consoles that you're about to see in just a second with Wii Play yesterday, and I found myself playing Wii Play, just unironically, for quite a while. There were 3 PlayStation 4 games shown in the pictures that he sent me, 2 of which I was going to keep, 1 I was obviously going to trade. That trade one is going to be Lego Marvel Superheroes. I think it trades for 5 or 6. I'm leaning towards 5. These are in really good condition in terms of the discs. The cases themselves are not, but it's fine. Next up, one of my favourite gaming franchises of all time. It is Mortal Kombat XL. Obviously the newer one. I've played to death. Absolutely love that on the PS5. There is a newer one again coming out soon, which is quite nice. I think that's an £8 trade, £12 to buy, but of course we are going to keep it. And finally, or so I thought, it was Injustice. Now this is the Ultimate Edition of Injustice. I don't think this is a particularly good game. I have played it a little bit. It's not really something that I'm too interested in, but it is a beat 'em up, and I kind of want to get, not all of them, but I do want my fair share. So I'm going through this bag of Wiis. So he's told me. Of course, like I said, this is completely random. There's so many different things in here. But as I also mentioned, he kept pulling out games. And he kept saying, oh, I've got this game. Like Tomb Raider was just added on at the end. He sent me a picture of it. Because he obviously just found it in the bag. He wasn't willing to go through the bag in its entirety to see what was in there. At the very bottom of the bag, there was another PlayStation 4 game. Kind of tucked under the PS2 games, I guess. And it's, I wouldn't say a new title, but it's definitely one that I was looking to get at some point. It's World War Z. Obviously, all 3 of these all 4, I should say, of these PlayStation 4 games have all come from CEX. They all have the labels on them. This one also has a label on it, but it has been ripped off, so I don't know how much the price was. But in terms of condition, it's up there. No manual. Don't know if it ever did come with one, to be fair. But the condition of it is exactly the same as the others. This actually sells for £15 in CEX, so if I decided I didn't want it, I could, I think, trade it for 10 or somewhere along those lines, or maybe even put it on eBay or something and recoup some of the money. So I could show you the entire video here, but it was 28 or 27 minutes and 59 seconds long. So to save you the boredom of me just pulling things out of bags and tidying the wires, let me break it down for you. We have 6 Wii remotes, one of which is unofficial. There were 6 nunchucks, all of them official. 2 or 3 of them were in really bad shape. There were 6, I believe, sensor bars, one of which was unofficial. 3 Wiis. Here is me actually opening these to see, well, I say opening, ejecting to see if they have any mystery discs. One of which was Wii Fit Plus, which is obviously worthless. The other one is Game Party, very, very badly scratched, and actually later on realised that it didn't really work properly. But finally, a good game, Mario Party 8, which sells for about £10 loose. In decent condition, it does play as well. I did chuck it in a little bit into my Wii U just to have a little test, and it plays quite well. There is one singular DS game, it's Big Brain Academy. World War Z, as you can see there on the pile, that was at the bottom, together with that DS game. I don't know if you can see it, I'll put an arrow on screen for you. There is a digital camera there, no charger, so I'm going to have to try and sell that as parts because I don't know whether it works or not. And bottom right-ish is a PSP power supply. I don't really understand why and how that ended up there, but it did. In the middle-ish, you've got 2 Xbox 360 controllers, one of which is actually in really good condition and is trade-worthy, and of course CEX give £13 credit for one of those, so that is definitely going to be traded. The other one, the analog sticks, are too far gone, so we may end up having to try and do something interesting with that. And of course, I think there's about 6 or 7 Wii AV leads over there. I've gone through everything. I've tested everything. Here are the results. I took a calculated risk with this bundle. I trusted the seller, and I knew that because I picked something off him before, but the games are all sellable or playable, so I knew my money was safe. It was a lot of work. I had to clean everything because a lot of it was dirty. And some of the stuff, in fact a lot of the stuff, is broken. 3 of the Wii remotes are dead. One of them does work, but the pins on the battery compartment have snapped due to rust. Now obviously I can't sell that like that, and I don't want to keep it like that because it is quite temperamental, but I'm going to harvest one of the Wii remote's battery compartments to fix the other one, and that's what this one is here. This one has a rattle, which is the broken bit on the inside. As you can see, it's snapped. I don't know if you're going to be able to see it, to be honest, but yeah, the condition of it's not great and it is snapped. It does work though, which is a miracle. One of the Wii consoles unfortunately doesn't read discs, so that will also go into the faulty pile. So 3 Wii remotes, 2 nunchucks, and a Wii console, all going to be sold off as parts. It's going to be worth something to someone to be able to fix them and sell them on, so if I could get £5–10 for it, I'll be happy. I have 8 power supplies all working, all the AV cables are working, all the sensor bars are working. Had to glue one of the pieces back onto a sensor bar because the plastic has snapped on the end, but it doesn't look like anything has happened to it now that I've glued it back. It's fine. The PSP charger, for some reason, is in there. It's sold. It's gone. I've tested it with a really janky PSP that I have. I went for £9 on Vinted, so £45 spent so far, well, overall, and £9 coming back to us already from Vinted, which was nice. 2 of the Wiis are in fine working condition, so they have been paired together with a nunchuck, a controller, power supply, AV cable and a sensor bar, and they will be sold off individually. Even worst case, and I sell these for 20 quid each, I am looking to get more, but if I can sell them for 20 quid each, together with the PSP charger sale, that's our money back. The digital camera, which is even weirder than the PSP charger, I'm just going to sell it as untested. Even if I get a £5 for it, you know, so be it. I don't know why people pay 40 something quid for a working one. I really don't get it. But if I can get £5–10 for it, I'll take it. The DS game, I'm just going to keep it. It's Big Brain Academy. If I ever get a DS to sell on, I'll just bundle it with it, just something extra, chuck it in. The Xbox 360 power supply, I will sell. I did think about keeping it, but it does work, so I might as well sell it and make the money back on that and worry about it at a later date if I ever need one. World War Z was in there, of course, you saw that in the pile. We're going to keep that for the time being. I will test it and play through it. Not test it to see if it works, but just test it to see if I actually like it, and then I'll make my mind up. Same with Injustice, really, although I have played Injustice before, and I remember not really liking it that much, but my taste has changed somewhat these days, so I'll give it another go. I'm going to give you 3 figures before I leave you today. The first figure is going to be how much I would be able to get if I sold everything that I picked up for £45. I'm not going to, of course, but if I did, that's how much I would get for it all. Underneath that, of course, is going to be what we actually intend to keep. So I do intend to keep the PS4 games, apart from the Lego game. The Wii games, apart from Tomb Raider, which will be bundled with the console. That PS4 game will be traded. The PS2 games I'll keep for now, although the dance game will go with a PS2 at some point if I ever get one to sell. And most of the PS1 games will be sold on, but I am going to keep a handful of them. And I'll show you in the future which ones I plan to keep, but probably the football-related ones and maybe the NHL. And then, of course, everything else is basically going to be sold. That Wii remote will remain in the collection for now, and I'll let you know if I can fix it in a future video. Most of, if not everything else, will actually go. The question, I suppose, is would I do this again? And yes, if he messaged me tomorrow and said, I've got another bag, here it is, and it was almost identical, just spaghetti junction full of absolute nonsense, would I do it again for 45 quid, 50 quid even? Yes, I would, because you never know. That bag could have held treasure. And what I mean by that is, the PSP charger at one point had a PSP to go along with it. At the very bottom of that bag, there could have been a PSP. Unfortunately, there wasn't, but had there been, and had it been in reasonable condition, then I could have sold that and it would have paid for the entire thing. There was a DS game in the bottom. Yes, on this occasion it was Big Brain Academy, but it could have been a Pokemon DS game. That would instantly have paid for nearly all of the bundle. You know, they go for between 25 and 35, some of them even more, cartridge only. There could have been a Game Boy in there, there could have been some Game Boy games. You just never know when it comes to this sort of thing. And that's what happened with that PS2 bundle. There were a fair few things in that PS2 bundle that were under all of the games and all of the wires and everything that actually ended up paying for the whole bundle. So before you even scratch the surface, you never know what's underneath. So count up what you see on top. If you think, well, even broken, 5, 10, 15, 20, those games are worth this much, my money is safe, let's just take a gamble. And that's exactly what I did. On this occasion it paid off. Now I've not done the figures, you've seen them, but I've not done them yet, so I've got no idea how well I've done off this. But just looking at the games I have by the side of me here, I'm very, very pleased with the way that this one turned out. And it didn't even turn out that well, in my opinion, so you just never know. Hopefully, I get this opportunity again in the future. Sorry this video was so long. If you have enjoyed it, though, do me a favour and hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, of course, and until the next time, Goodbye.